So, hello colleagues. Good to see you here. Good to be on this stage.
No.
You can hear us? Yes?
Okay, now it's fine.
Okay, great. So, warm welcome from my side. Good to be here. Stronger together is the theme we have for this session here. You understand us? Yes? Okay, good. We want to introduce you to our journey to S/4HANA. I think we are all colleagues in this journey, and we want to introduce you to our episode 1, the first stage we did on our journey. My name is Thomas Lütke. With me is my colleague Rainer on stage, and he will give you further insights of the technical part. First, short introduction to our group. The Friedhelm Loh Group is a company with 12,000 employees worldwide and 95 subsidiaries. The most important, the greatest company is the company Rittal. So we are doing Schaltschränke. So we are delivering the enclosures for the hyperscalers and for different other companies since 1961. As you can see here, the further figures. Yes, so the group is not so well known, but quite important for our industries. What did we do? Move it, system consolidation, step 1. So our CIO bring me in this project and handed it over to me and said, can you please do this? I said, how? What is it? What do you want from me? So we had 3 different systems as starting situation on different levels, on different databases, and we had to bring them together with a limited timeline to one consolidated system on a HANA database. This was a challenge we accepted, and we took over then to migrate these with the colleagues from SAP, which I can see here, the major players, Mark, Harald, with the help of them, how to migrate 40 terabyte of data into the HANA database. It was a quite easy journey. Harald, your plan. It was a quite easy journey, as you can see here. No, it was not. It was difficult, and we had quite a lot of steps to coordinate. The major point we did in this project, and this is the message of this plan, we did every step minimum twice. We had 2 test migrations. We had the testing periods with the business. We had 3 go-live simulations and at least 3 different cutovers from the smaller to the bigger systems to migrate then the main productive system end of last year. This was the story behind it, and this is the major point in our learnings. So at least you can make any mistake, and we did quite a lot of them, but please just do it once. Learn rapidly, learn very, very quick how to migrate these major systems while the business is still running on. What did we do? What did we learn? So one of the first important points was we need to bring real consulting into this project, not just doing it as a technical migration. This was a learning curve together with SAP as well, to have the key persons there, the key experts there, and together with them, we did real consulting. So the way was not clear. We have several times that we had to change the approach. We had several times that we had different time zones, and we had different steps going forward. And you need really experienced consultants in these different stages to bring it forward. This is one of the major learnings for any journey, and we will have further stages in the next months. Next point. If you don't have the business on your side, if you don't have the collaboration right on start, bring it forward, enable the business, involve the business. The first touch point was, it is just a technical migration. No, it wasn't. We have quite a lot of interfaces and add-ons which touch our main processes. So therefore, these main processes need to be tested, and we had to organize the business to bring them into this project and realize that it is really important for them as well. Next point, on the different topics we had to buy in, bring in the key experts as key success factors. If you don't have the capability in your organization, buy it or enable persons. So we met each other to do the project. We didn't know before. Yeah. We were motivated to do it together, and therefore we started together to bring this project to a success, to make it happen. So very important to have the right persons on the right place, and if you don't have it, buy it. As we did with Harald, with Mark, and the other colleagues from SMP. Then, next point, as I said already, in the plan, we had different waivers. We did the steps several times. So we had learning curves, we had the experience from the first step for the second step, for the next cutover, and we did the go-lives at least in 3 waves. 3 different systems, from smaller to bigger, from the more decent parts to the more relevant parts. We did 3 go-live waves, and we learned quite a lot step by step, even in the productive cutovers. The next point is that the time between the waves that we calculated was very important to bring these learnings to the next stage, to have the learnings then with you when you do the next step. So very important for the cutovers, not to do it door at door, to do it with some time in between, to realize what was a major point in this, what can we learn, how can we do it better for the next time. Then, communication. Communication was key success factor and is key success factor for every project. Communication, communication, communication. Bring the persons, the key players together, bring them on site, which we did. We had on-site days, and with these on-site days, then we could manage to do it in a better speed, with knowing each other, with knowing the behavior and the interactions between the different players. Very important to learn and to trust each other for always the next step, as we learned as well.
Correct.
Then testing, testing, testing. We had so many issues in the testing phases, what we didn't know before. Yes, for sure, otherwise you wouldn't test, but we didn't even know that we could fall into this pit, and therefore it was very important to have this, that we learned out of the pitfalls for the next step, for the way forward. Then, the international involvement, very important for us, for driving such a project just from the headquarters is not sufficient enough. You have to involve the different countries, the different companies. They have their special environments, their special processes, their different way of working, and therefore it is important to have them on your side with their inputs to the project. It was no technical migration. The technical part together with SMP was not the issue. We could manage to do it in several steps. You will introduce us to that in some moments. With different steps, we did it, but we need to get confident for this migration together with the experts. So therefore, what is the major point? The major point is you need the right technical part, and the right technical part is standing beside me, together with the colleagues from SNP. I just call Major Tom to ground control. Rainer, please take over.
Thanks, Thomas. So now let's have a look into the starting situation we had more than 2.5 years ago. We started with 3 systems, which has been more or less isolated. No connection, no consolidation. So with other words, we could look on this situation that the systems have been completely disconnected. For sure, we have some interfaces, but we have different databases on the systems. We have different space allocated, with other words, number of data in the systems. But also we had intercompany processes. What has been the key driver for our situation? The key driver was that our IBM 9 platform was running out of maintenance end of 2024. And this has been the key challenge to us. How can we bring the free source systems in a smart way into the one target system? Also to make the DB change happen, and also how we can get on with the massive of data we have in our systems. Therefore, we had different approaches from the starting point, and last but not least, we ended with the SNP and with the share group to find the best way for us how we can bring over the free source systems in one consolidated target system. Our approach when we started was to see what was the biggest impact to our business. Can we have more than 3 days the systems switched off? Is this possible or not? How can we satisfy all our customers that we are in a position to fulfill their orders? How can we produce without any interruptions? And therefore, we identified the best way with the SNP, and this is called the near zero downtime approach.
Which was very important for us.
Correct. What does it mean to us?
Running while we are migrating.
Correct. What does it mean to us? The solution is based on an uptime migration and a downtime migration. The uptime migration is technical-wise that you will define the biggest technical information / tables and bring over the content into the predefined target system within the uptime migration. This means there's no direct impact to the production. Everything is running. The colleagues, the business side, will not see any negative impacts to this. This uptime migration will be the basis to have all major data copied over into the target system. As a prerequisite to this, it was necessary to create a new target landscape, and this target landscape has been defined on a HANA-DB. With the colleagues from Daniel, we could create this target environment to have the basis for all further migration activities. Within the analysis, we have seen that there are huge challenges to us, especially the code differences between the three source systems. This means the challenge to us was how can we consolidate the coding from the three source systems before we are going into the target system. And in here, what Thomas mentioned before, we have to find the right experts. How can we get on with? So therefore, we talked with the experts from SNP, from Share, and we identified one of a good experienced partner will be the Smart Chip company. The Smart Chip company helped us to consolidate the coding from the three source systems and bring those information over into the target system before we could start with the DB exchange. This means that this was a huge impact to our developer department to support them. You will get a few more information later on. Thomas, it's your part to describe where we are now before we are going more into the more technical information. What will happen in 2025?
Well, what we did in 2024 was the first step on our journey to the S/4HANA transformation. We need to have a stable system basis for the next steps, and that is what we did in 2024 together with this first move. Now we will do the next step, the move to RISE. So as you can see on the further pages as well, we want in the end to transform to S/4HANA completely with greenfield approaches. So the major target is in the end to transform the whole company, to renovate the system, to re-establish new processes. And this is the major point in the end on our journey. For this, we now have a stable system basis.
Correct. And to achieve this in the future, it's also necessary not to only to think about a greenfield approach. It's only the question, how can we move the data from the source system into the new target system, the new platform, maybe in 2026 and ongoing. So therefore, we have in here defined as a greenfield bluish approach. This means that we are thinking about how can we move those information, the data, from the current system later on into the new created S/4HANA landscape. Okay. Let's have a look into the technical learnings we had. And as Thomas mentioned before, also from a technical point of view, we could do the mistakes only once. The technical approach already mentioned before, we defined that an uptime and downtime migration would be the best decision to fulfill our business requirements, not to have a system outage for more than 3 days. The challenge in here was to bring the 3 systems into the target systems. We got a few information before that too. One of the major challenge to us was the planning, the timing. Due to the situation that in end of 2024, the maintenance of the IBM Power 9 platform would be switched off or not more available, we had to start with a backwards calculation. How can we bring in the whole migration activities into the small time frame? And Thomas has shown this before with our beautiful planning created by Harald, how many different steps we had to fulfill.
Yeah, so the due date was the first thing we know about the project.
Right.
We know when it had to end, and the rest had to be arranged to it.
Right. What I would like to say in here, it's every time it's really important to look in both directions. This means what will be my starting point, but also what will be my end point to bring this project live. What we learned, we have 3 systems. We decided to move over the systems step by steps. Overall, we had 12 separate tasks to run. This means 3 systems by 2 test migration plus go live check. And last but not least, 3 times a go live. The go live was one of our biggest challenge, where the team from Daniel, the whole basis team, has been on site. The project core team was on site. The colleagues from Share, the colleagues from SAP, we all work together to bring everything into the right shape and to have the success delivered on time.
As I said, communication, collaboration was the key success factor. Bring the peoples together. And let's work together on this.
Really important to such a project is, what are the risks to us? What is the business risk? What are the technical risks we have in here? And the business risk is, how long can we switch off the whole systems? And we ended with 3 days overall. And this was our end point to bring everything in a stretched shape in here.
So with the uptime migration before?
Uptime migration, we had started with more than 3 weeks overall. and the downtime migration.
And we could minimize, therefore, the downtime.
The downtime migration was roughly about 15 hours overall for the big systems. This was the last go live. So this is a big achievement, and due to the test circuits we had before, we could reduce and optimize the overall timing in here. What we already learned, what are the best and the best stakeholder and most experienced partners for this. So just to repeat, who was part of this big project? The Loh IT as a service company within the FLG. We had the project core team led by Thomas. We had the share company, which started in end of 2022 within this project. The SNP was one of the part, but also the smart chip. So just to summarize, we had in here specialists from different companies because internal-wise we are not in a position to deliver this.
Yeah, as we said, key experts for key success factors, and that's bringing the project forward.
And another learning for us was we are a team. This is not that the external person delivered this on their own. This was a team building and a team achievement overall. Otherwise, this was not possible to deliver this. Execution, this is the last point where we would have some more details into the technical approach. Already mentioned before, we validated the different approaches we could go for. So we decided an uptime and downtime migration is called near zero downtime approach. We had a detailed planning. You have seen the beautiful plan created by Harald, where we have the different steps. 12 times we migrated the records from a source into the target system with all prerequisites before. This means the code consolidation, the system creation, also the setup for the new HANA DB. Another learning to us was what are the dependencies within the three source systems? When we are going into one target consolidated system, how can we combine those processes, those dependencies? And last but not least, the software update that we are able to bring the system live end of November last year.
Within this project, we migrated to EHP8 to have a starting point for the S4HANA transformation.
So,
yeah, facts and figures. This we used quite a lot, these slide, to bring them, to explain what we did. We had more than 7,000 test cases to run, the different defects, and I promise you quite a lot of them were already in the system before we started. So a lot of defects we had to handle. We had over 800 tickets in hypercare, which we solved very quickly. The starting point on the hypercare on Monday morning was, I think, within 2 hours we solved the different topics. So this resolving time was really very, very quick. So the trained team, together with the trained team, we could manage this.
Correct. And in addition to that, what we learned, the testing and the test cases is one of the most important prerequisites you have to keep in your mind. Once you are going into such a big project, you have to be in a position that test cases will be available and those test cases can be executed and monitored. Back to some technical figures we had in here. Overall, more than 3,200 cutover steps. The cutover list we created, we started with less than 1,000. We ended with more than 3,000 overall. We had roughly about 400 colleagues involved within this project. We had more than 20 on-site days.
And we learned it was the first stage on our journey. If we go on with the next slide, Rainer, we can see we will do the next step now. We move to RISE. So we consolidated the systems. We have a stable basis now. In the next step, we want to move to the SAP RISE cloud to bring our system over, then to hand it over to the hyperscalers. And this will be then the starting point for next year for our greenfield transformation to S/4HANA. So very important to reach this first step in 2024, now doing the second step in 2025, going forward, looking forward for the whole journey we want to do. And yes, the hardest point, with the last page please, the hardest point in change is that you have to go through the unknown. This is our motto, and we learned about it. We stepped into every pitfall, but we came out very quickly with solutions. We have the experience now in the team, we have trust in the team, we have the collaboration and the communication set up for the further steps on our journey. And we will go forward, and maybe we see us here on the stage next year again. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope it was with some key facts for you, for your journey as well.